Hello IntelliScientists, welcome to Allen IntelliBrain. In this video, we will acquire the knowledge of plotting the coordinates of reflected image and understanding the reflection symmetry with the help of an engaging Intelli activity. From our Intelli Smart Box, take out the geoboard parts, side stands, central stands, box of board pins, activity kit and coordinate geometry tag sheets. In order to perform this activity, take out the two parts of geoboard along with its 4 side stands, 2 central stands, symmetry tag and IntelliBrain tag from our activity kit. First of all, assemble the geoboard as done for the coordinate geometry activities and place it on a flat surface. Put the IntelliBrain logo and symmetry logo on the assembled geoboard and start performing the activity. Now, take the alphabet tags from coordinate geometry tag sheets, 7 board pins along with the spool of thread from the box of board pins. Observe the shape as shown here. The coordinates of the vertices of the figure are given. One by one, start plotting the alphabet tags and hold them on geoboard with the help of board pins as learned in the activity of application of coordinate geometry. Fix the alphabet tag P at -2, 3. Alphabet Q at -4, 0. Alphabet R at -2, -3. And alphabet S at 0, 0. Now, cut the spool of thread into 2 equal pieces and tie one of them over the pin at point P. Followed by point Q, then at point R and finally at point S and again at point P. At this point, we can see the original image as shown here. Now, we will start plotting the reflected image. But before this, let us understand what a reflected image is. An image that appears almost identical to the original image but in the opposite direction from the line of symmetry. In order to obtain it, we need to start plotting the corresponding reflected points of all the vertices of an original image while considering the y-axis as the line of reflection symmetry. Let us find the reflected point for the point P. Here, the coordinates of point P are -2, 3. When the y-axis is the line of symmetry, the y coordinates remain the same, but the sign of x coordinates will reverse. Therefore, the reflected coordinates of point P are 2, 3. So, place the alphabet tag P dash at 2, 3. The coordinates of point Q are -4, 0. So, the reflected coordinates of point Q are 4, 0. So, place the alphabet tag Q dash at 4, 0. Similarly, the reflected coordinates of point R are 2, -3. So, place the alphabet tag R dash at 2, -3. And the reflected coordinates of point S are 0, 0. Please note the reflected coordinates of point S are the same as the coordinates of point S because the coordinate is at the origin. Therefore, there is no need to place any alphabet tag. Now, take the other half of the thread and tie it over the reflected point of point P, which is P dash. Followed by the reflected point of point Q, which is Q dash. Then the reflected point of point R, which is R dash. Then the reflected point of point S, which is S. And finally, at the reflected point of point P, which is P dash. At this point, we can see the reflected image of the original image that we have considered in the beginning while considering the y-axis is the line of symmetry. Similarly, you can perform the activity for other shapes by yourself while considering the y-axis or the x-axis as the line of symmetry by using IntelliSmart Box. We are sure that after performing this activity, you will have gained the expertise in the following concepts: plotting the coordinates of original and reflected image, and understanding reflection symmetry. Visualize maths with Allen IntelliBrain and fall in love with learning.